So, as you can see, I have already placed time in the A column, because this is going to be like X on a graph, and displacements here in the B column, which is like Y. So here are my numbers for my times, and I just made these times up, 0 through 8, and then here's the distance. As far as out on the track, 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 meters. That's where our timers were at. So now that I have that information, I'm going to highlight by clicking and dragging and picking all the numbers. I'm not going to use the information up here, just the numbers. And I will go ahead and hit Insert, which is way up here, right next to Home. And then over to where it says Charts, you'll see a little bunch of dots on a graph. And that's the XY scatter. Click on that and go down to the first one where there's no lines, just like it says in the directions. Now that you have that, before you click on anything else, go over to Quick Layout. Click on Quick Layout, and you'll see that there are a lot of options here. This is Layout 9. It's kind of like a number pad. Alright, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10, 11. We're going to do 9, Layout 9. The reason we do that is it gives us an equation for this line, the slope-intercept, which is y equals mx plus b. Here's m, the slope, and then b, which would be the intercept, where it goes through the line. R squared is going to let us know as far as how many of the points are touching this trend line right here. So right here, since I made up these numbers, you can see that the trend, all the points are on there. And the way I know that is because it says r squared equals 1. Alright, so now I'm going to go and put in the title. Alright, so first title will be for our first runner, which is a positive CV. And whoever the runner's name is, oops, I'm going to go ahead and put runner's name. So you put in their name, and then we'll know who the first runner was. And then your name. So I'm going to put Mr. H since I'm making this. You put your name in for that. And then you can come on over here and double click on the side axis. Alright. And you're going to go ahead and delete back so that you can type in your axis. Alright, so on the side is our displacement. Alright, so I put displacement, and then I put M for meters. Brackets around our units always. Got to have a label and units. And then I'm going to go ahead and do plus minus. Now, you can do a plus minus by hitting plus and minus, or you can go to Insert, go to Symbol, and you can go down to here where there's a plus minus symbol. If I click on that and say Insert and hit Close, well, now there's a plus minus symbol right there. Now we're going to go ahead and use 2 point. That's what I'm going to leave it at. That's my uncertainty, and I have to put down M for meters because my uncertainty units always have to be the same as my measurement. So since it's in meters, my uncertainty is in meters. And we're going to pick 2. I'll talk about that in class later. Then come down here on the x-axis, and I'm going to go ahead and put in time. So put in time, and I'll put in brackets the units of time, which was seconds. Once again, I'll go plus minus, so I'll go up to Insert, go back over to Symbol, and I will go back to the plus minus. Now, plus minus is moved over here because I recently used it. Alright, so then I said Insert, Close, and now I've got that. Actually, I must hit it twice, so I'll delete. I only need 1 plus minus. And the uncertainty for time will be 0.5 seconds. Alright, so now I've got my title and my labels done. Now it's time to go and put in the other parts as far as it shows on there. We're going to do grid lines. So if I click on the graph, you got to click on the graph, and all of a sudden you'll see the plus. So I hit plus, and I go on to where it says grid lines. So here's grid lines. Already checked because there were some grid lines. But I'm going to go to the little triangle here to the right, and I'm going to click on all of the grid lines, When I do that, then I will have a lot of little grid lines in here, which will be super helpful for later. Alright, next I'm going to add in data labels. So I click on that, then I go out to the triangle, and I go down to data callout. So I click on that, and that allows me to see what my X and Y value is for each of my points. While I'm on data labels, I will click on that triangle, and I'm going to go down to above. And that moves it above, which will be useful for some drawings that we'll do, that those are kind of out of the way. But also useful that it will let us know what the actual values of the dots are that we're using in some calculations. Next, we're going to do error bars. So I'll click on error bars, and you can see all these little pluses come up. That allows me to understand how close is this trend line in this acceptable range. As far as, are any of these points like outliers? Are they, really don't make any sense based off of the trend that we're seeing? And obviously, since I made up these numbers, they all fit within that. So let's take a look though at setting up what length should these error bars be. If I go over to the little triangle on error bars, and I come down to where it says more options, I will then find, it says line. Now here's a paint bucket. Alright, effects. We are always, and we're working on graphs, we need to be where the little bar graph. So I'm going to click on the bar graph, and that is going to then tell me how I can find and change the horizontal error bars, which are the X ones. So I'm going to go down to where it says fixed value, and I already said that for the horizontal, which is the X, that I'm going to have an uncertainty, as we typed in for the chart, of 0.5. So I'm going to come over here and change it from 0.1 to 0.5. Now, this is the tricky part, is you got to come on over here and you have to click on this little Y error bar. See how it's like a little upside down T down here? There's one on this one on this one. You literally have to click on that. Don't click on anything else but that, otherwise it kind of takes you off where you need to be. So I'm going to click on that, and it changes that to vertical error bar. Now I'm going to click on fixed value, and as it says over here, right, our uncertainty for the Y or vertical axis is going to be 2. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, erase it, and put in 2. Alright, so now I've got that. While I'm here, I'm going to click on the trend line, or the, not trend line, but the legend. Alright, the legend is going to go ahead and be deleted. So you're going to hit delete. And we don't need a legend when there's only one line. You know what that line is, right? It's for our first runner. Alright, so now that I have that, we're going to go ahead and move the graph over here, because we've pretty much got everything done on the graph that we need to. And I'm going to just stretch it out so that it fits into the screen. Now you can kind of see the error bars and the data labels and everything just a little easier, which will be useful once again for some calculations that we're going to do. Alright, so now I did that. Last thing is click on the graph somewhere up here in like the white spot here, and I'm going to go to home, and under home you'll see the text size. I'm going to hit and change this to 14. If you do it this way, then you can see all of them. Now the numbers are nice and big. It's real easy to read. Alright, so now that we have made that, alright, now I'm going to go ahead and make some copies of this graph so that we can do the other 7 runners. So I'm going to come down here to where it says sheet 1. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to where it says move or copy. Click on that. I'm going to say move to the end, so that way this next copy will be put after sheet 1. And I need to create a copy. So I'm going to do that and hit OK. So now there's a new copy. Well, if I click on this, alright, you can see that it looks very similar because it's a copy. See, sheet 1, sheet 2, same thing. Now, if I go ahead and change the numbers for runner 2, so I can go runner's name, and I can put in whoever that number 2 runner is, put their name in there, right? Leave your name, and runner 2 is still running a positive CV, so that stays the same. All I got to do now is change their numbers. So let's say well, obviously their time will start at 0 at the starting line, but let's say their time was, 1.4, all right? And now let's say they're at the 20 meter mark, their time was 2.6, all right? As you can see, that changes where the dots were, right? I'll type in the next one and take a look how this one moves, right? So if I go here and I go 3.7, right, look at that dot, right? Just moved over. And it changes the equation of the line. So it's now going to make a new trend line, which will show that, this is a different set of data. All right, so you put in all the times, and once you're done with the times for runner 2 and actually put in their name, graph 2's done. All right, now it's time to go and make graph 3. So I go down to sheet 1, right click, move or copy, move to end, create copy again, hit OK. Now I got sheet 3. So I click on sheet 3, right? And what did runner 3 do? What did they do? They ended up doing a negative constant velocity, right? So I changed that, and you can put in number 3, right, as far as who their name is, put their name in. And then I can go ahead and plug in their new numbers, right? So all I got to do is change the time numbers, because the distances stayed the same, right? The people timing didn't move. It was just the time that they got on their stopwatches as the runner ran by. So you just keep doing that until you've made all 8 runners move to end, create copy, spots, right? And so here on 4, I can then change that to the other negative constant velocity and runner number 4. All right, so you're going to just keep going along and doing that, okay? I'll let you do this for today, and I will come back for part 2 of the video to show you how to end up changing your last 4 graphs from 5 to 8 into acceleration graphs, and then how to determine which ones you're going to print off so we can then use them to find instantaneous velocities of an accelerating runner. All right, thanks for watching.